Hi, thank you everybody for joining us for this next episode, I guess, of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire. And today I get to do this again with my wonderful friend, Joanne Burchuk from Lighthouse Physical Therapy. Nice to see you, Joanne.
Hey, Lisa. Hi. Thank you. And yes, we're excited again for another episode. And today I have the pleasure of introducing Lauren, who works at the Dover Children's Home. And Lauren, please introduce yourself and tell us about your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. So my name is Lauren Petraitis. I have been working at Dover Children's Home for a little over a year. So I started last July. And actually I was a high school English teacher for 6 years before that. So I'll kind of try to bridge the gap between what brought me to Dover Children's Home through that. So we are a residential treatment program. We're a nonprofit. So basically a lot of people would refer to our establishment as a group home. We are an intermediate level group home. So that means that the kids that come to us are kind of at a certain level. So we do not do any restraints. We haven't done a restraint in 9 years, and we really pride ourselves on that. And we want to avoid that, therapeutically speaking. So really the kind of kids that come to us, so they can be anywhere from 12 to anywhere before their 21st birthday. And they come to us from a variety of backgrounds and for a variety of reasons. So a lot of the time it is abuse and neglect. In some cases, though, it is juvenile probation reasons too. So the kid made a really poor choice. There are kind of circumstances in their life that drove them to do that. And so they're with us to kind of create, to kind of get back on track. Really, we're kind of a safe haven for kids who have endured emotional trauma. And we have a variety of resources through our programming to help get them back on track and get them kind of living in a safe environment. So, so some of the things that we do have, so the reason actually that I came to Dover Children's Home was while I was an English teacher, I started to have kids disclose things to me in some cases, or some kids, they would be in English class, and so they would be writing and they would write something about their personal life that I saw was, was really concerning. So I'd have to report it to guidance to help the child, of course. And so I began to see that there were so many kids who had experienced emotional trauma, and that really it was like teaching them was a priority for me, but the way that they learned was so different than a child who had not been through emotional trauma. And I didn't really understand that. So after, doing a lot of research and learning about what trauma actually does to the brain, how it can change, your brain pathways, I started to see that there was this huge population that was in a lot of cases kind of unrecognized by a lot of people, and that there was not quite very much awareness about how trauma affects kids and what trauma really is. So I actually ended up attending a fundraiser, the Bowl-a-thon last year, and I ended up meeting Renee, who's now my boss, and it just kind of went from there. And I love teaching, I still do, and I kind of still consider myself to be a teacher, but it's more about teaching awareness to the community about our kids and kind of why they're with us and their needs and how we meet their needs and things like that. So the ways that we do meet their needs. So we are a community-based program. So that means the kids that are in our care, they live within the community. So some programs around the state, and we do serve kids from all over the state, and some other programs that are also group homes, they are more of like a closed facility. So they do everything internally. So they are, school education kind of happens within their program. We're a little bit different. So our kids do go to school in the community. Some kids, go to school right in Dover. Some kids go to schools that are more personalized and tailored to what they need. But they do also have jobs in some cases in the community. So we really want to make it as normal an experience for them as possible. And for a lot of the kids in our care, they haven't had that home structure that we are trying to provide them with. So part of that is, teaching responsibility. So the kids do have chores. They, again, in some cases can get jobs if they're at the age where that's appropriate. And everything really is done within the community, and it is a bit more open than some other programs. So we do have an academic and vocational coordinator. She's incredible. So she handles and kind of is in contact with the teachers that the kids have. And with COVID happening, her role really changed a lot, and she became kind of like the full-time teacher at Dover Children's Home, because the kids were doing remote learning. And in a lot of cases, the kids will be doing that in the fall too. So we help their education needs be met. We also have a clinical director, so she is in charge of all kind of overseeing the kids' mental health treatment. Community Partners is involved with us, so a lot of the kids go to therapy there. I believe most of them do. And we also have an independent living coordinator, and they're all amazing. And she talks to the kids about budgeting. She talks to the kids about, opening up a bank account and, saving your money and putting it away. And if the kids do get a job while they're with us, we have them put a certain amount of their paycheck away every time they get paid. And then that goes into a certain account. And then at the end of their treatment, once they leave Dover Children's Home, we do give them a check with that amount of money, so that if they, they can use it to purchase a car, or if they're going into, independent living and they're 18, they can maybe use it for a down payment on an apartment, things like that. So again, we're really just trying to provide them with a safe environment where they can heal and also become more empowered, and really kind of have a trajectory in life that will make them the most successful that they can be, considering their circumstances, and really kind of providing that community support. And that's another thing about our program being community-based is, so I'm the development director, so I oversee fundraising, and so we raise about 50% of what our annual budget is. So we do that through fundraising events, which again, because of COVID, has been really different. We've had to be very creative. It's been kind of fun to be able to do that, but it's also been just a little, kind of odd, considering how I came into the job and where we're at now. So I oversee donations as well, and the community is really incredible. I mean, we have people donate, monthly meals. We have an Amazon wish list, and we'll have people, if we're in need of like school supplies for the kids, or some things for summer activities, especially this summer where so much of what we normally did, we had to kind of scratch and start over. So we have, people donating to us just to help meet the needs of the kids, and that's been really amazing to see.
Sorry, I had to mute myself. My
No,
dog.
no.
How many kids are you able to house at your facility? I guess is my first question. And what's a typical length of stay? Are some of these kids there just for a really short time, or do some of them end up staying for several years or until they time out at the age? How does that normally work?
Yeah, definitely. So the first question that you had was how many kids are we able to have? So we're able to have 12. Currently we have 9, I believe. I'm also working from home, so I feel, people will send me updates and I'm like, wait, how many kids do we have now? And I really miss them. It's weird not seeing them. So currently we have 9. And the duration of stay really depends. I would say on average, probably anywhere between 6 months and a year. We have had kids who have been in our care for 2 years. And the thing is, it's on one hand, some kids truly do need the support that we provide. And of course, we want them to be there. We want to help them transition into, the real world in their own lives as best we can. However, a lot of kids, really don't want to be in placement. It's really hard because for some kids, their parents don't have custody of them anymore. And so they're kind of just floating around and then they come to us. So you know, we try our best to find them a safe place to be. But if that's with us, and if, you know, that's kind of their trajectory, then of course we welcome that too. So one really happy example I would say is one kid was with us, and I believe he was 16 when he first came with us. And he was with us for, I believe it was right around 2 years. And he ended up, we took the kids on a trip to go rebuild houses after Hurricane Katrina happened. So some other groups that went along were also from the community, and one group happened to be from a local church, not affiliated with us, but we happened to meet them while we were there. And so this one kid became very close to a couple that was from the church, and they, you know, just kind of took him under their wing, and they were from Dover, of course. So when they got back from the trip, the couple had, you know, asked our executive director, you know, with your permission, could we stay in touch with him? You know, we feel like this is a really nice relationship we have with him. So they did, and he would go to church with them every Sunday. By his own like wishes, he actually was baptized at that church. It was just something he wanted to do. So they really became mentors to him and significant adults in his life. And they actually ended up taking him into their home this past, just about a year ago. So now he's staying with them. And so that was just forged from a relationship that, you know, kind of just happened on this service trip. So the fact that that was able to happen because he was in our care, again, kind of, you know, accidentally, was just amazing. But that really is the hope that we have for all the kids, is that they do transition into, you know, the home that they came from, which would be a safe place, or if it's not a safe place, that they would transition into a safe environment elsewhere, or transition into their own independent living. And our independent living coordinator does a really good job if kids are going off on their own. And we have had kids, actually, one of the kids that was in our care years ago, she had been working, I believe, as an LNA and just saving money, and she just bought her own house, which was incredible.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was just like surpassed what we even expected of her at this time. She just worked so hard to get there. So our independent living coordinator really makes sure that, you know, and we all make sure, where are they going after this? Is it a safe place? You know, do they have a plan for a job and all this, if they're at that point in their lives? So it totally depends on, you know, the amount of time that the child does need with us. And we're not, you know, the only ones making that decision, of course, but I would say probably on average 6 months to a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And oh, I just had another question. When you were talking, oh shoot, I got so involved in your stories, and you know, it's always the fun part, is like listening to the great success stories that you have with these kids that, you know, would have potentially gone in the wrong way, you know, especially if they're left stranded and stuff. Oh, I know what I was going to ask.
Yes.
What kinds of things are good for people to donate to you, or how do people find out what to do? Obviously, money is always welcome thing, but are there certain normal things people do donate? I wasn't familiar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. So, and though, yes, monetary donations, of course, always help us. We really, you know, the thing is, a lot of people around the holidays, and it's so like amazing to see. And this was my first holiday season at the home. And so, you know, people will say like, hey, do the kids want any Christmas gifts? What, you know, or holiday gifts? What can we do? And we appreciate that so much. And the kids, like, oh, it's just magical to see them during the holidays. But one thing that I think a lot of people do forget, and sometimes we even forget when we're talking to community members, is that we are in fact like a household for all of these kids. So that means toilet paper, paper towel, you know, all of the kind of household needs, dish soap, things like that, that aren't, you know, directly for the kids, but of course will help to provide the household that they live in with what they need. So basic household items are really something that we always do need, and we welcome people to donate those things. Other things are really snack donations, because they are all teenagers, and they, especially in the summer, they just really like, snacking, and they work up an appetite, especially being outside all the time. So, healthy snacks. Someone had just emailed me today about wanting to donate fresh vegetables, which is just like such a treat. And also, we have one person who is like a dessert donor every month. So she'll donate, home baked goods, and the kids really love that. So, any kind of food meal donations, and honestly, even just the monthly, people who are monthly meal donors, it helps so much, because we do have a kitchen manager too. So she essentially, makes sure that there's food for the kids all week, and that it's, nourishing food, and that it's, full meals. So if she's able to kind of get ahead of that, that's always helpful for her. And it's also just kind of a treat for the kids. There's one person who donates Domino's every month, and the kids really, that's like something they look forward to. I just did baked mac and cheese last week for the first time, and apparently that was a hit. So that was really exciting. So any of the things that any normal person would have to, keep in their own household, in terms of, keeping up with it, or, feeding their families, things like that, that's always really helpful to us. We do also have an Amazon wish list. It's on our website, and it is on our Facebook page. And so just recently, we realized that we are running kind of low on reusable masks. Sometimes kids have misplaced them, and we've also hired some new people. So we did have a community member make some masks, which is, so sweet. But we do have some on the Amazon wish list too, along with a couple hammocks, because the kids have been outside, and that's been one thing that they're like, we really wish we could, have some hammocks. So in some cases it is, needs to keep up with the household, or, provide the basic needs. And in some cases, it is kind of for our programming or summer activities and things like that.
Great.
It's really fascinating, and I'm so grateful you guys are there to support, to give that consistent, really safe support for these young adults in some cases, right? So and what is the age group again, you said?
Anywhere from 12 to right before their 21st birthday. So as soon as they're 21, they can't be in our care anymore, but anytime before then they can be. So
fantastic. That's great. And if people want to learn more about Dover Children's Home, what's the best way they can do that?
So they can go to our website. We have a bunch of awesome information there, or our Facebook page. We also just developed an Instagram, and we're actually in the middle of, and I haven't quite announced it fully yet, but we're in the middle of a really cool photography project with the kids. So our Instagram is kind of more about, the stuff going on at the home. But Facebook is more about like, what are our needs in the moment, and same with our website. So.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I so appreciate you, Lauren, filling us in, Lauren, and telling us, about all that you do, and I appreciate the work that you do, and the whole team there does for these children and young adults. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, of course, I'm happy. I feel lucky to have the job. So.
Thank you for meeting with us. This was really great.
Yeah, of course. Thank you both so much. It was really a pleasure meeting you both.
All right. Take care. Nice to see you.
Thanks. Have a good day.